Hello, everyone. Last week, we talked about what is an infographic and how to develop effective infographics. So in this week, we will continue to look at the different types of infographics. So here you can see we have a list of different types of infographics. So no matter which type of infographic you are going to develop, it can always fall into this 9 types. So it can be informational, statistical, timeline, process, geographic, comparison, hierarchical, list, and resume, even resume infographics. So on the slide, we have lots of examples for each type of infographics. So I'm not going to details. I'll leave it for you to take a look at those examples. And we also summarize some of the best practices that you can use to develop each specific type of infographics. So like for informational infographics, they work best as summative standalone pieces to provide a high-level explanation of the topic. So it's better to number each section and to facilitate the information flow. So here is one example from the Adventures of Tom Sawyer. So we all know it's based on this particular story. And one more example from this talent lift for recruitment matrix. 5 tips to keep your chin up. So you can see some of the good ways to engage the audience in this example by using images and the background colors for each section. So one more example about stocks and shares and 7 digital marketing trends. 9 ideas you can create a product quickly. So here is a list of the best practices. Second type, statistical infographics. So the main idea is to focus on numbers, charts, and data. So we have several examples. And next type is timeline infographic. So this is used to visualize the history of something or highlight the events or important dates. So we also have some examples for you to look at, like a brief history of technology, years of tradition, and internet and technology, and also some best practices. So for instance, use a central line to connect the different points in time. Use a bold contrasting font to highlight the year or name of each event. Process infographic. So this focuses on providing a summary or overview of the steps in the process. So in which you need to simplify and clarify each step. So some examples. So this one is actually interesting. It's about the process to create an infographic. And one more example about this inbound methodology. How to actually, this is basically for marketing process. Customer journey map and some best practices. So one thing is you can actually use an S-shaped layout to minimize the space in order to fit as many steps as possible into one page. Next one, geographic infographic, basically map. So map can be a powerful instrument in creating infographics. So multiple maps can be used for comparison for different states. So heat map can also be used as a supplement to visualize density and to create a hierarchical structure. Comparison infographic. So again, the name says it's used for comparison. So we typically use this two column layout for comparing two things. Again, that's the two option comparison. So if you want to compare more than two things, then you can divide infographic in half. Dividing infographic in half will not work. You can divide into multi-sections or multi-columns or multi-rows. So best practices. So depending on how many things you want to compare, it can be two sections, two columns, two rows, or multi-sections, multi-rows and columns. List infographic. So it's used to share a collection of tips, or list of resources, a list of examples. So it's just to convert a list into the infographic format. So again, different types of layouts can be used based on how many items you want to demonstrate. Some best practices. So again, S-shaped layouts can be used to save the space to present as many items as you want on just one page. Hierarchical infographic. So this is used to organize information in a better way to present it to the audience. So this is a well-known example, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's being presented in the pyramid. So this clearly shows us maybe the levels of needs and their in different levels of importance. Again, this is presented in the pyramid. So it's about the learning pyramid. So from here, you can see the most effective way to learn is to teach others of the subject. So it can be used in organizations to show the organizational structure, like in this case. So resume can also be actually created in the infographic format. So here are some examples. So different people, they have different personalities, which can be reflected in the resume infographics they create, like these three examples. So here is actually a good suggestion. You can use word cloud to visualize the relevant keywords of your skills or values or maybe your characters. So how to make an infographic design effective? So we have talked about many design principles. They can be used again here in infographic design. So lines, borders, shapes can be used. So some examples. So contrasting colors can be used to guide your reader's attention. And use a text hierarchy with 3 different font styles. So we will talk about typology later on. So this is about the typology to use different fonts and styles. Use images, icons, and illustration to manage the key takeaways. So here are some good examples. So in summary, all those elements should be used wisely to guide users' attention to present information effectively. So finally, I want to talk a little bit about animated infographics. So as its role suggests, in data visualization, animation can catch the eye of the audience and to make them engaged. And sometimes animation can help clarify information more effectively. So like in this case, actually, if we make some of the elements animated, so we can immediately catch the audience attention. and convey the information we want to deliver to the audience. So here is one more example. So here actually on the website, it's actually animated. So like the fluid in the cups, in the glasses. So here is an example, it's already animated. So you may have seen this example before. So this is a very interesting and engaging example about how to build a human. So using the static structure of a throw with markers for the months of pregnancy, this infographic shows a loop of an embryo gradually morphing into different forms as it heads into the middle section, birth as a fully formed baby. So you may want to actually, as you watch this animation, you actually always want to keep track and keep watching how it actually, how this actually develop into different stages in the pregnancy. Here is one more example. It's about 7 ways to hack a drought. So 7 suggestions to deal with drought. So using animation, we can clearly see actually how, or maybe the solution immediately that can help to combat drought. The moving waves of water at the top near the title again quickly communicate what infographic is about. And also we see this text hierarchy from the large numbers to the top level section title to the detailed text. Each animated illustration has been selected carefully to emphasize the main takeaway from each tip. And here is a example about 42 butterflies of North America. This one uses animation sparingly with just the wings of each butterfly flapping, but it's arranged in a grid. This is the choose your own adventure experience with all the information clearly laid out for you to read in whatever order you want to choose. And this one is about speaker, how speaker actually makes sound. This infographic helps us to understand different technical elements of a speaker. It shows what each element is part and how they actually work jointly to make speakers work. So videos have been also frequently used to produce animated infographics. Videos can make complex topics easy to interpret by providing visual context. They solve the same problem that static and GIF infographics are attempting to, and offer even more control over the experience. As a creator, as a designer, we can actually control the elements we want to put on the screen and at the pace to show those elements. But for the audience, they are more passive. It's a more passive experience compared to static infographic because there's no scrolling necessary. However, the visuals and audio can put things in context clearer for the audience, making complicated ideas much simpler. So here is one example. It's about loneliness. So they use visual metaphors to bring facts, figures, and ideas to life. So I'll maybe leave this for you to watch because it's pretty long. It's about 12 minutes. Next one is how Toyota changed the way we make things from Bloomberg. So they use really simple but effective animated infographic style in this video. So to make things clear and accessible, even mostly the color scheme is black and white. Again, you can watch it later on. This is relatively short, it's about 5 minutes. And next one is work simplified, so from Slack. So this shows what you can do using mostly simple recognizable icons like email messages in time, blending them with animations of people interacting in an animated space. So in this video, there's no text on screen and no voiceover, but we can still clearly understand what Slack can do for us with familiar recognizable actions. So again, you can take a look and watch it later on. Okay, so that's all I want to talk about this week about infographics. So as we mentioned, infographics, they are a special type of data visualization, but if you design them properly, they can be, again, very useful and effective to deliver specific messages in a particular context. So please let me know if you have any questions.